Season 43, War number 11, and we're up against Sålty. This time my team will be Silk, Shuri and Future Ant-Man. I will be taking Path 5 in Section 1, as well as that Storm, Pyramid X and Attuma on the shared fights. And then in Section 2 I will be going left, taking Jessica Jones, Thing and Korg. I'm not touching that Sauron, but more on that in a little bit. Then finally for the boss island I will be taking Kingpin and Mangog there on the left side, and that is my war right there. I'm once again ignoring the Ebony Maw to open up Section 2. Normally I would be using Silk for that one, but we are sending a Hercules for it to get him ramped up for the boss. Up first here we have an America Chavez on the Ebb and Flow knockdown and right back at it nodes, and I'm taking the fight with Silk. Now this fight is fairly simple, as long as America Chavez doesn't decide to start spamming those random heavy attacks, everything should be fine. I'm mainly gonna be baiting her special ones, because I can dex them just fine, so I don't need to rely on my auto evade. If it runs out and she's at her special 2, I'm gonna take some damage, so I would rather want to avoid that. Now, these specific nodes here are not the greatest for Silk, mainly due to the debuff immunity on knockdowns. But as we can see here, her specials still do a nice chunk of damage even with the protection on. The burst damage triggers somewhere between protection being disabled and the debuff immunity being applied, so it still steals a good chunk of damage, which does speed the fight up quite a bit. Just over a minute into the fight, just gonna chain in a special one here, and the burst damage will finish her off, and the fight went pretty well. Again, not the fastest counter by any means, but she's a very safe option there, and if for whatever reason America Chavez did get her special 2, the auto evade would allow me to completely avoid it without taking a single point of damage. Now this fight right here is a Mantis on the Ebb and Flow knockdown and heavy hitter nodes, and I am taking the fight with Shuri. And Shuri is probably the best option for this, because her ability accuracy cannot be reduced, so the Tranquilize passive will not do anything. Your parries cannot fail here, your shocks cannot fail either, so the only thing Mantis has for her here is that special one. So long as you don't let her use it, she will not be able to trigger the encroaching sleep on you, and everything should be fine. Now there I made a mistake. I didn't notice that the protection was just about to come back when I tried to go for a parry heavy. So the protection shrugged off the parry stun and she went straight for a heavy attack, but luckily I had Shuri with 10 charges there, so the heavy attack actually triggered her untouchable, which then saved me from eating that heavy attack. So a bad play on my part, but Shuri being amazing saved me once again. Next up we have a Storm, Pyramid X on the Ebb and Flow knockdown, right back at it, and Aggression Prowess node, and I am taking the fight with Future Ant-Man. I did use an invulnerability boost here, just to be safe, because this specific fight can get out of hand very quickly. And the glancing can prevent the attacker tactic from activating, so the prowesses can still get out of hand even if you use a tactic attacker here. And if those prowesses get out of hand, so will the power gain, and if you hit a special 3 with all those prowesses on Storm, you are as good as dead. There is no question about it, so the invulnerability boost is a must. Now I was getting very close to being in the position here myself, but luckily I did get out of it before things went too wrong. I did have to actually consume a couple of my invulnerability charges there, well, on accident, but luckily it didn't cost me, and I did manage to take the fight down without losing too much health, or even worse, dying. And then we have an Attuma here on the Hazard Shift, Incinerate and Shock node, along with Aggression Prowess, and I'm taking this fight with Future Ant-Man. I have Odin's shock resistance pre-fight here to help me out, but this fight is still horrible. Future Ant-Man has no way around the Thorns damage that Attuma deals on contact, so this fight is gonna lead to you having to use the potions basically no matter what you do. Another issue here that I didn't consider at first is the fact that the concussions that Attuma starts with increase his ability accuracy, which also applies to the nodes. So as you can see there, the hazard shift node is triggering on almost every single hit. On top of that, I'm also missing my intercepts, so I'm getting comboed, losing health due to the thorns, and then slowly ticking down from all the hazard shift debuffs, which is making this fight a bit scarier than I would like. At this point, luckily though, the fight is just about over. I got out of it alive, but sitting at 40% of my health, which is definitely where I do not want to be in Alliance War. Still though, got the fight down, but that's probably my least favorite defender on that specific node, especially with Future Ant-Man. I probably could have taken it with Shuri instead, but the incinerates might have been a problem. Next up we have a Jessica Jones here on the buffet over time node, and I'm taking the fight with Silk once again. The idea here is that since Silk does not gain the precision buff from dexterity, she doesn't gain any buffs at all, so the buffet node can never trigger. On top of that, the slow debuff that she has also shuts down any and all unstoppables that Jessica Jones might get from her own abilities, making her a very simple defender to deal with. All I really need to do is just hit the opponent until they fall, and that's about it. Though I will be using some specials to speed things up a little bit. The weaknesses I get on my specials do make them hit quite a lot weaker and softer than they normally would, but it is still a bit faster than actually just using my basic attacks. Here you can also see that my healing from willpower is being reversed, so I did take a little bit of damage there at the end. Luckily not too much to warrant a potion, but still a little bit annoying since I'm a bit of a perfectionist. But at the very least I didn't get clipped this time like I did earlier this season. Now talking about fights taken earlier this season, I had some issues taking a fight with the Indomitable node paired with some form of regeneration, and I am once again using Silk for another fight just like that, though the regen in this one isn't as bad. This specific fight here is a thing on the Never Back Down node, and I'm taking it with Silk. Game plan is to use the auto evade to deal with the specials, so I don't need to trigger the Never Back Down healing by dashing back twice in a row. The game plan itself is decent in theory, but it's only so good if you can actually execute it properly as well, which I'm not really doing here. I didn't get my evade up back in time for his next special, so I had to dex it manually, triggering the regen, and then after that I mismanaged the rock stacks and I got comboed. So, while this fight doesn't seem too bad, so long as you actually stick to the plan, don't dex, like I just did there once again, and then just manage the rock stacks properly, this fight shouldn't be bad. Now I am missing dexes, once again dashing back too much, I don't have my evade so I don't have a choice, gotta bait the special out but he's not throwing it, so triggering more, regen is healing up, I'm barely doing any damage at this point, and every single time I go for the heavy stun while the protection is not on cooldown, he will trigger it, lowering my damage by quite a bit, which is also a big problem here. At this point I'm not even sure what I'm doing anymore, I'm just spamming my dash back to avoid the specials when there was no need to. I had the evade ready to go, I just didn't use it. So once again I triggered the healing for no reason. This time around I at the very least I stuck to the plan. But I mistimed my special 1 with the protection on thing, so back to square 1, he's gonna regen back up to where he was, or at least close to it. Almost 2.5 minutes into the fight now, and thing is still at roughly 25%. Not looking too good, but at the very least he is going down. But I make yet another mistake. I threw my special 1 without first getting the slow on thing, so he triggered the unstoppable, punished my special, and comboed me again, followed by some more regen due to me having to dex away. So it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back constantly, but at the very least I'm making some progress. Now, yet another mistake at the very end of the fight. Luckily, he didn't land too many criticals, or I could have actually dropped dead right then and there. But I did get the fight down. Now, that wasn't a great fight at all, and that is the last time I'm using Silk for any fight involving regeneration, because I clearly just can't do it properly, so I'm not risking it anymore. And then we have a Korg on the Burden of Might and high energy diet nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Future Ant-Man. And this matchup isn't exactly great due to Future Ant-Man's high buff count and the Burden of Might node, making it so Future Ant-Man literally cannot throw a single special in this fight. But that said, the game plans to just hit him until he drops with a bunch of light intercepts, never letting him use a special, and I'll just let the fight play out. It's beautiful. And there we have it. Korg goes down in less than a minute, didn't even get to use a single special, and didn't miss a single light intercept myself. I just love Future Ant-Man's AI manipulation. Making the opponent aggressive like that makes him one of my favorite champions in the whole game. Then we have a Kingpin on the Missing in Action and Power Efficiency mini-boss node, and I'm taking the fight with Future Ant-Man. As usual, I have the White Magneto pre-fight here to help me out by allowing me to get those openings whenever I want to by simply parrying him. Pre-fight isn't necessary here, but it does make it a lot easier and safer to deal with. But if you don't have it, you just gotta bait a special 1 or a heavy attack and punish it with your heavy to deal with the falter timer. Aside from that, this fight is basically just baiting Kingpin special 1 over and over, not much else to say about it. As usual, with Future Ant-Man, I'm just getting to my special 2 and throwing it with the power detonation active for most of my damage. Just repeating that over and over until the fight is over, and this fight shouldn't really pose any problems. The biggest issue is the falter, but as long as you keep an eye on it, there is absolutely nothing to worry about. That said, you probably don't want to push Kingpin to the special 2 due to the long unstoppable afterwards, making things a little bit more annoying, but so long as you have the White Magneto pre-fight here, you can even just wait out the unstoppable by landing a couple parries. He goes down, no issues there, and next up we have a fight that we are all very familiar with by now. And that fight is none other than Mangog himself on the Aspect of Evolution mini-boss node, and I am taking the fight with Silk. The game plan here, as usual, is to rely on the invulnerability boost, push Mangog to his special 3, eat it if he decides that he wants to throw it. If not, well, it doesn't matter, the end result is the same anyways. Then I'm gonna be getting to my own special 3, throwing it and trying to go for as big of a special 3 rotation as I can get without the striker. and then just going from there, repeating if necessary. And since this is a 7-star rank 2 Mangog, a single rotation will not be enough to take him down. Now this time around he decided to throw that special 2 instead of the special 3, but Silk's auto evade handled it perfectly. So I still have 3 invulnerability charges left from the boost, so it's looking good. After the special 3 I go for a medium light medium, medium medium, light light medium light heavy special combo, which is what I usually use to, well, nuke down most opponents. At this point Mangog got a special 3, he throws it, but due to the invulnerability boost it doesn't do anything except give him a little bit of regen, but it's not even noticeable really. Now to clean this fight up, I decided to try to go for a special 2 finish, hoping the burst damage would be enough. But this is a chunky Mangog and he survives at 4%, but all I really need to do is just go in, drop another heavy attack, and that finished the job. Even if it didn't, I still had a special one ready to go to finish him off with that. And there we have it, yet another Mangog on 54, completely destroyed by Silk. I just hope I don't get to see this guy ever again. As for the results, unfortunately we did end up losing 2-3. Even if we tied, we would have lost on fight time, but what makes this one a horrible loss for us is that we had a double KO to the same node, due to a same planning mistake as we had done about a season or 2 ago before, so it's literally just salt to the wound, no pun intended. But it is what it is. Salty played well and they did deserve to take the win there.